think you could do it, did you?
It's a good start. A little bit left.
You didn't think you could reach the summit.
You got to keep moving. Let's keep moving. Let's go.
You didn't think you could be an Olympian.
Drive. Come on now. There you go. Use your arms.
You never thought you could experience the great outdoors. You didn't think you could experience sports ever again.
Keep going.
Today is a new day.
Don't quit on me. Keep going.
Your world is now and forever changed because you did it. You are doing it, and you will do the things you love again.
You're very best. You're very best.
If you want to play it, run it, hunt it, swim it, hike it, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Game Changers. It's time to change the game. Welcome back to Game Changers. My name is Jonathan Price, and for all of you who have been following the Olympics, congratulations. It's been a very interesting Olympics, I guess, and I haven't followed a whole lot of the Olympics because I've been doing this stuff, and it's been awesome. I've been talking to a lot of amazing people, but to all of the Olympic athletes out there who may be listening to this show, congratulations. And I know we actually have quite a few Paralympic athletes who are going to be in Paris in a couple of weeks. So if you're listening to this, as you're going out to Paris, guys, we wish you all the best. Man, we're so excited to have you guys out there and, you know, kicking ass and taking names. It's going to be fantastic. I just got back from 2 weeks in Boston, and so there's a lot that I want to cover. It was crazy to see Fenway Park and the history behind Boston and everything that went into from seeing the place where the Declaration of Independence was read for the first time to the public, to Bunker Hill, to Maine and Portland, and all those beautiful, beautiful places. You guys got to go check that out. Before we get into our guest, the hike was absolutely incredible. We had, I think, 75 right around there, hikers and guides all up the mountain. It was absolutely crazy. And it was a beautiful day. So yeah, if you guys were on the hike, we really appreciate you coming out. Thank you to the Lions Club. It's so much fun. So I hope everybody can come next year as we try to make it to 100 hikers. Evan, how are you doing, my man?
Man, I am good. We are on a deload week right now, so I'm not training too hard for my competition. So it's weird not being sore everywhere anymore.
Tell me about this competition.
Yeah, I'm training right now for America's Strongest Athlete with Disabilities, which is a strongman competition. So I got to like run with the shell of a car on my back and lift an axle overhead and all kinds of fun stuff like that.
So pickle jar is nothing to you, huh?
Yeah, the wife handed a couple to me the other night, and it was reassuring for sure. Does
she ever just call you a tree?
I've been called like a lumberjack before. When the beard's way out there. Yeah.
Yep.
But she's actually training for one too, which is really cool because we get to compete together. So that's gonna be really exciting.
Very cool. Now, is your wife blind as well?
Nope, she's visually impaired, luckily. So she's a good chauffeur as well.
Oh, there you go. All right. Very cool. Well, you run this amazing company, Cain and Abel. And when I first heard of this company, I immediately went to the story in the Bible of Cain and Abel and how there's just, that's the name that I think of. And so how did you come up with the name Cain and Abel for this amazing company? Then tell us about the company itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a Christian, and I've realized that God has blessed me with a whole heck of a lot. And even though I have visual impairment now, I'm still blessed with so much. And I really wanted to put that out there in the world, and then also make people aware that even though you use a cane, you're still able to do stuff. I've gotten a lot of doubt over the years. So a quick part of my backstory was I was in a very small area in Illinois and had just finished my bachelor's degree and working and easily the most accredited trainer in the area, at least in our county. And a lot of people, once I got my visual impairment, which is Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy, all of a sudden within those 2 weeks, people were doubting me and, thinking that I wasn't able to do stuff, and is it even safe for him to be in a gym anymore? Or even worse, him and his family are lying. And I was like, I'm not even driving anymore, so I'm clearly not lying. Right. I wouldn't just like make that up and give up my truck, that was my baby.
Yeah.
That was a big part of the name as well, is showing that even though you do use a white cane or something, that you're perfectly capable of still doing stuff.
So tell me about I mean, you talked about the genesis of it, but why does this Cain and Abel company exist? What was your goal with it?
I realized that if I was receiving that much doubt when I was very accredited, I was doing some stuff with like CrossFit and weightlifting and deadlifting over 500 pounds and, all these different things. And yet, as soon as people knew I was visually impaired, they thought maybe you shouldn't be doing that stuff. And there was a lot of doubt that came in. I within that year moved on to Chicago to get my master's in kinesiology. And I had a lot of doubt thrown in there as well. My first week, there was a professor who tried to talk me into moving to Oregon and not being a part of the program in Chicago anymore and all this stuff. So all that doubt, I was like, if I'm being doubted this much and I'm as confident and like I've been so confident in this stuff before, then how much worse is it for everybody else? Like, I got to make sure that other blind people are understanding just how capable they are, and encourage them, and then also empower them by being able to fill that knowledge gap.
So why in the world is there so much doubt around blind people wanting to work out or be healthy, or where did that stem from? Do you know?
Yes, I think people doubt so much that visually impaired people are able to still do things, because I don't know if anybody else has gotten this comment a lot like I have, but a lot of people go, "Oh man, I couldn't do it if I was you." Yeah. I think a lot of that self-doubt from other people really feeds into them then imprinting that lack of doubt or lack of confidence upon us as the blind community. So they think, "Oh, I couldn't overcome this." And when they see somebody else who has to adapt and overcome, they don't see how they would do it because they're not in that situation. They have to. And then they really put that upon us as a blind community.
It's interesting you said that, because in our hike, we have a lot of people who go on this hike. And sometimes we'll go to more public venues where we have a lot of interaction with sighted hikers. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe these guys are hiking up this mountain. How do they do it?" And they're amazed that people can get up out of bed when they're blind and go to the grocery store and do all these mundane tasks, much less go to a gym or climb Everest or go kayaking or, whatever they do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wild. Yeah, like you say, the mundane things that people are just blown away by. And I've had people, like, especially at the college gym in Chicago, approach me and be like, "Hey, we just want to say, like, you are such an inspiration. Just the fact that you're even in here." I'm like, I think I'm the strongest one here. Like, this makes no sense to me. Like, it's really just about what you're capable of and how hard you work and push yourself. It's not these tiny little things. And wow, like, that blew my mind. It's crazy that those little things are capable of making people think it's just wireless thing. I have all these little stories too about like little kids seeing a blind person, me, for the very first time, and just being like amazed that like he's walking with a giant stick. This is insane. And like it's, so I think it's a little more acceptable when it's a little kid having their first exposure to visually impaired. But hopefully the Wanderlust, once there's people are adults, that kind of Wanderlust needs to wear off a little bit.
Yeah, I certainly hope so, especially when you're talking about going a gym, and you are clearly no stranger to the gym scene as the gym rat that you are. So when you go into gyms and you think of the accessibility, I think of, man, I really don't want to walk next to somebody who's doing a squat and have 500 pounds fall on the floor or hit me in the head or turn a corner and get clocked with a weight or something. Talk a little bit about the challenges of accessibility in a weight room.
Yeah, well, I've done a lot of talks, and it always get to pop out of the room where I say people are the problem in the gym most of the time. Yeah. And I get that pop because everybody's like, "Yep, absolutely." So you have to worry about people putting their gym bag in a silly place or leaving weights out and equipment that shouldn't be there. So even if you've gone through and done something like the free gym acclimation program that we have on our website, which slowly stair steps you through over 3 weeks how to approach going to the gym and how to chunk it out to learn how that gym works and what areas there are and where things should be. Even if you've gone through that kind of a process, people can still be the issue. Leaving stuff out or coming and magically stealing your bar. I've had that happen before. I'm like, I just found a bar. I ran to the bathroom or something or to get a drink, and I come back and like people have like stripped it down for parts. They're like, I swear there was a bar here. I just did it myself.
Wow.
Like silly things like that'll happen. And then I go reclaim it, figure out who did it and get it back. But
yeah. Do you go typically with a guide, or your wife, you work out with your wife, or how are the gyms kind of accepting, or how do they navigate the accessibility issues?
Yeah, so I usually do go to the gym with my wife these days, especially since we're training for the same competition and all. Well, hers is going to be the day before, so I get to act as her coach and she gets to act as my coach.
There you go.
Which is such a perfect setup for her first strongman competition, and one that means so much for me.
Yeah.
So usually we're doing the same thing, but then we'll even break off at the gym. So I have had to learn the gym format. And the first time we went in, did a tour, it was figuring out what all is where the machines are, where the free weights are, dumbbell order, everything like that. All these little things.
Yeah.
And then being able to relearn some of that stuff as it comes up. So that has been super helpful. And I've been able to like grab gym managers or front desk workers at different gyms while I'm traveling and be able to figure that stuff out. And then also, I think a big issue with people trying to access the gym is they try to learn too much at once. I've got a pretty good memory, but I still don't want to try to memorize every machine that they have, every weight that they have, every implement, everything. That can get very overwhelming, especially if you're only going to be there like 1 or 2 days, if you're on the road or something, or if you know what you have to do for that day. And then like it's like squats, leg press, and leg extensions. Like you really only need to know where those things are and maybe like the stretching area or something. So then the next time you have upper body, you need to figure out where the bench presses are and all that stuff, be able to just chunk it out. So being able to learn to ask for help, which is again a big part of that gym acclimation program, and how I teach visually impaired people to start approaching the gym, is just break down those barriers bit by bit and don't like convince yourself that you need to know everything in the gym from day one. Like there are things in this new gym that I've been at for like a month. I still don't know where exactly everything is because a lot of it doesn't necessarily matter. I know there's like a boxing area and like these different tiny little areas that I don't even need to know where they're at. So I don't bother with it. I just focus on memorizing and learning to navigate better and better the areas that I need.
I'm glad you started talking about that because a lot of people are very scared of going to the gym for the first time, and people are trying to work out. They maybe just do body exercises at home, or just with their own body weight, and which can be really good for, starting to get into shape. But for those people who are genuinely interested about going to the gym and working out and using the free weights and the machines and some of the interesting and more unique things that a gym has to offer, where would you tell people to start and kind of walk through that process?
Yeah, I would start by going on our website, kenablefitness.com, and downloading our free gym acclimation program. That's a really great blueprint for how to start out because it's been overly thought out by me.
Nice.
And then we have 6 different workouts. Technically, there's 7 because there's like a day 0 where you literally go into the gym, learn to ask for help from the front desk, get a small tour so you understand generally what there is. Let's say that there's a gym that you decided to scout out and everything, and it's mostly cardio machines, a little bit of machine like weight machines and no free weights, but you really wanted free weights. And then, that's not a good place for you. Also on day 0, there's important things like if you're going to be going to that gym, there's important things like, hey, figure out where the bathrooms are. Because if it's day 3 and you're like, oh, shoot, mid workout, it's time for that. Like that's not going to wait. So there's some of these important things that really get glossed over that we want to make sure people know about. So that program, I'm very proud of that, is able to get you just 2 days a week in the gym for 3 weeks. And by the end, you've tried squats and different deadlift movements and different movement patterns, as well as some cardio, some core, and figured out different styles that work well for you. Because you've had to try different rep ranges, you've had to try different exercises. You're encouraged to try different cardio machines and learn how those work and take the time for that. So then by the end of 3 weeks, you have a great idea what works for you, what you're good at, what you're bad at, and how you want to progress from there.
So when people are going into the gym for the first time and they're like, oh yeah, I want to throw, let's just say 125 on the bench press. And for a lot of people, that's a lot of weight for some people. I mean, that's kind of a scale, but if they're just going to be throwing weights on there, is there a training program that you have on your site that kind of walks through some of those things, how to train, so that you don't hurt yourself?
Yeah, we certainly have a lot of different resources. So hopefully without rambling, I've got 50 something articles that I've written on all kinds of different topics.
Awesome.
There's even at-home workouts and everything, kind of to meet anybody where they're at. One that comes to mind when it comes to progressing proper exercise and not just throwing on a ton of weight and seeing what happens is we have one of our more recent articles called Double Progression, and that's based off of an old school programming style where you learn to progress the weight but also the reps in order to make sure that you're in a range that works well for you. So let's say you're going to do the classic 4 sets of 8 to 12. If you start out with a weight and you're able to handle it for like 4 sets of 8, and then you build it up over weeks at the same weight until you're able to do 4 sets of 12. Then you give yourself permission to add some weight to the bar, start back over again until you're able to max out that new weight at 4 sets of 12. So that's an example of how I have articles that teach you how to do these things as opposed to just going in the gym every time and guessing. That's kind of the old adage of if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Oh, yeah. That's a great method. I remember doing that in football, and that was a lot of fun. What about people who maybe they need to go through physical therapy? They've had an injury or something like that, and their physical therapist said maybe you should go to a gym and try these, bands or weights or machines. What advice would you give to people who may have either a knee injury or a shoulder injury or something like that?
Yeah, so there's a bar called a safety squat bar where it has a little bit of a camber to it and it helps it canter forward. And then also there's these handles that come out that you can hold and they're just outside your neck. So it is able to keep that padded bar on you so you can even let go. So if you have like shoulder issues and can't quite crank into a bar the same, wrist issues, people even use it with like if they have a broken arm or something like that.
Wow.
That's an example of a tool that you can use to work your way around something and still get in a really hard workout. And when we think about people having other injuries, there's some other really common ones or overuse issues that are very, again, common in the blind community that I address through several different programs. We actually just put out a couple of videos recently on foot strength and balance. And there's a beginner and advanced program. Those can actually be used at home. And then also an at-home posture workout that helps a lot of the different beaten down areas of visual impairment and the posture issues that come with that. And there's also a gym version. So if people want to start hammering down some of those weak areas that tend to be a problem for us, then those are some different resources we have for that.
That's incredible. For the people who are terrified of the gym, just out of either inexperience or they don't understand it or they just don't like it. Maybe they had a bad experience and they don't ever want to set foot in a gym again. Where would be a good place for those people to start getting into the physical exercise and not just hiking, biking, like that kind of stuff, but they want a good, genuine workout? Are there any tools or tips that you would have for those people?
Yeah. So I do remote exercise programming and coaching for people. So I have visually impaired clients who go to the gyms. I have visually impaired clients who would rather work out at home and have even just minimal equipment. And we're able to make it work. So that's certainly doable if you want a customized program. Otherwise, what people can do is just figure out movements that work well for them and they can apply a little bit of intensity to. So let's say if you have a bad knee, like squats aren't necessarily the best idea. We'd have to do some fancier manipulations like a wide stance chair squat, something like that to make sure you're nice and safe.
Yeah.
But figuring out some different movements that you can do and push yourself with. And then one of my favorites is using Tabata. That's TABATA. And it's 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off for 8 rounds. And it gets pretty intense. And that's the whole point. You get a ton out of it. And it's like the benefits of that exercise for less than 4 minutes go well beyond that 4 minutes. So you can do that for different exercises. And what's beautiful about that is you don't need to be able to like squint at a clock, or if we're totally blind, we don't need to just be guessing and counting in our head or anything.
Sure.
You can find an interval timer that audibly beeps for you at 20 seconds and at 10 seconds and just roll with that for 8 rounds. So you don't have to pay attention to anything except exercising well, which
Nice.
is a beautiful place to be in. So you're able to make even your own home, or I'll put a timer in my headphones and everything so I know when to go and keep myself rolling at the gym. You can use those audible interval timers in order to keep you moving at a good pace. And there's plenty of other variants you can do with that interval timer style. And I definitely welcome questions all the time. People can DM me or whatever. And then we have several different articles about different timing of stuff.
That's really cool. Before I get into my last question, can you give the website and any contact information or social medias that you've got so people can look you up?
Yeah, absolutely. We're at CaneEnableFitness.com, spelled CaneAndable fitness.com. It's going to be the same thing, CaneEnableFitness@gmail.com if you want to shoot me an email.
Cool.
And then we're CaneEnableFitness on Instagram, and you can join our Facebook group as well. What I would really encourage people to do is go on our website, scroll down on that homepage, and there will be a way to sign up for our newsletter. That would be best for being able to stay updated. We're putting out different advanced programs, things that you can get to help like lower arm issues. We have a fall prevention program already produced, everything like that. So if you stay up to date with that and some of the more high-end content that we're coming out with, then that's the best way to do it.
Is there a subscription for the website for the content?
Nope. We got 50-something free articles. My social media is it got hacked back in December, so we're kind of restarting it and republicizing different things. But we got like a descriptive muscle function series that tells you where a muscle is on the body, what it does, how to work it, what exercises to use, all that stuff that we're kind of reproducing. So we got a ton of different good series, even like language learning for the blind on our YouTube channel as well. So if you want to go subscribe to that, we have a ton coming out with that as well.
And that's just Cane Enable YouTube?
Yep, Cane Enable Fitness for everything.
Okay, Cane Enable Fitness for everything. All right. Well, my final question is, you have worked so hard to, I guess, thwart that just that misconception, that perception that blind people can't be in the gym, that they can't work out hard and they can't become really, really strong and physically fit. What are you doing now to make sure that you are changing the game for the entire community?
Right now, I'm really pushing to win America's Strongest Athlete with Disabilities. And then I want to go on to win at the world's level as well, in order to show that we didn't even cover my first time in a gym. I was just a little nerdy kid. And one of the football coaches was having us go through different stuff and everything. And he told me to bring the bar up to my shoulders and then use my legs and push it overhead and then put it back down. And I tried, and I barely got up to my shoulders, and I was wobbling everywhere, little nerdy Evan. And I tried to push it over my head. I couldn't get it locked out. I literally hit myself on the top of the head, hit my shoulders, and then dropped the bar. And he's like, just get out of here. So like, I've always been told, like, I've never been built for this, for sure. I'm not super genetically blessed. I have crazy scoliosis where if I went back in, they would tell me you need surgery and rods in your back. You're done.
Oh my goodness.
So like I wanted to continue pushing in order to show that through a lot of effort and thought and planning ahead and just wherewithal, and believing in your own capacity, that with you and a solid support system, which certainly helps, you can achieve a whole heck of a lot. And then I really want to change the game by winning some stuff, and then being able to pair with some bigger people in like the strongman and fitness space, and be able to then empower others and get the word out that even though you're visually impaired, there's a heck of a lot you can do. So when I go around the world and do different workshops and stuff like that, that's what I'm always trying to show people. You don't have to be the strongest. You don't have to be the fastest. I want you to be strong enough and capable enough and fit enough through exercise to then be able to do the blind sports you want to do the awesome hike that you guys did. And just be able to operate. You know, if you have glaucoma, macular degeneration, something like that, and you're just becoming kind of decrepit, but you want to be able to play with your grandkids, I want that for you as well. So just being able to learn how to be fit enough and confident enough to be able to do what you want to do to get the most you can out of life.
So real quick, I know I said that was the last question, but you also do public speaking. Do they get a hold of you through the Cane Enable Fitness Gmail, or how do they get a hold of you if they want you to come speak at an event?
Yeah, organizations can just go ahead and email me at canenablefitness@gmail.com, or reach out through any of the social media, anything like that. I've got a lot of different clips and everything, if you kind of want to see how I approach things as well.
Man, it was so awesome having you on the show. Thank you for all that. And I can't wait to actually have you back, because the next time I have you back, I want to talk about understanding how your body works and why it works the way it works. Because I think, when you're blind, you have to think about a few more things when it comes to your body. I think balance is the first thing that comes to my mind, and just understanding how your body needs to behave in order to keep yourself safe. And so I can't wait to have another conversation with you about that. But yeah, is there anything else you want to leave our audience with as we get ready to close this out?
Well, first, I'm super excited to talk about those topics. I'm really happy that you appreciate how much balance and everything works well for us as a blind community. I'm also huge on tactile cues, like cueing exercise in ways that work for us as blind people, instead of just like, oh, just go look it up on YouTube. That doesn't work for us. So
No.
I got some great strategies to share about that as well. That's going to be really great. But really, all I'd want to leave your audience with for now is you're far more capable than you think. I am constantly fighting this negative self-talk in my head, even though I've won Illinois Strongest Man against sighted people and swept that competition. I've done qualified for nationals however many times.
Jeez.
I've done some stuff, but there's always going to be that little bit of self-doubt, which is there for everybody. So keep fighting that and keep just day by day doing something cool that proves to yourself just how capable and wonderful you are.
I love that. Well, I can't wait to have your story on. You're going to be on with the Blind Chick in a couple of months, and it's going to be epic. And they're going to talk really more about his story and really how blindness has affected his journey just growing up, and more about his schooling and all that. So don't forget to catch that here in a couple of months. We'll make sure we post that when it comes available. But Evan, I'm so thankful for you and the journey that you've gone through, and supporting not only yourself, but this community, making it a little bit stronger, safer, tight-knit. And it's just been absolutely incredible having you on. So thank you for all of your information. Coming up, we've got quite a few guests. We're going to be talking with some Olympians from the Paris Olympics, and it will be really fun to hear kind of their journey through this Olympic season, the trials, the tribulations, and their thoughts on being in Paris, and just really neat things. So if you have any questions, don't forget to email us at feedback@aftersight.org. And if you have a question for an athlete, feel free to call us at 720-712-8856, and you can get a hold of myself, or again, send us an email. All right, well, that's it for Game Changers. Hope you guys have an incredible week. Go work out, go pump some iron, don't hurt yourself, do it the smart way. Go check out canenablefitness.com, and don't forget to change your game. Talk to you later.